Off we go. We are recording. So, welcome to week, what number is this? 4, I think. 4, and it's called Let's Get This Place Cleaned Up. Let's clean up our world. Now, we don't want to be maids, and we certainly do not want to be scullery maids. So, we're going to talk about how you get dirty and how you stay clean. That's what this week's about. All right. So I've got a few things. We're going to, and this is kind of interesting. We're going to go over that there's more than one way to clear and release energy. And so you're going to have more tools in your, you're not just going to have the coffee press. There's going to be other ways to release and clear energy. And, it's like, a carpenter has many tools in his tool bag, so we're going to have a lot too. So how do we get dirty? Well, of course, we already know everything is energy. And then we also know that we can be like boom cars and collecting, but it's also kind of like pollen. We'll absorb it. There are some people that actually literally go around and try to smooth over everybody's stuff. I love that. It's like, oh no, let me take some of this. Let me take, it'll all be better. Let me take your drama. Let me take it'll be better. So that gets you dirty. Now, another thing that's kind of interesting is, remember we talked about doing it unconsciously, connecting in and absorbing other people's stuff simply because, because we're trained to be that way, simply because we're in proximity of them. And this is we're all humans are trained to do that. It's called the herd response, right? So we all have to connect with one another. But modern humans don't do it so well as we noticers do, as we sensitive people do. We automatically will connect. And that's DNA. I mean, that's genetics. That's passed down. That's part of being part of the baboon troop or the chimpanzee troop. We all have to be connected to the other. And when it's flowing well and you're part of a group, you notice how awesome it feels to be in the middle of a team and to be connected. I know I enjoy it. I like it. We don't want to be the Lone Ranger. So another thing that's interesting is that our DNA actually shifts when we do collect these things. It actually alters our DNA. The vibrations will literally alter it. Remember years and years ago when they discovered the human genome and they said we only have 20% of our actual genes that ever do any protein encoding and tell us to have brown eyes or blue eyes or green eyes and the drill. And the rest of it, the 80%, is junk DNA. Well, it turns out that junk DNA is very biochemically active. Now, why do you suppose that would be? I mean, there's more than one scientist has done studies on this, and they have discovered that this quote-unquote junk DNA has a lot to do with perception and behavior and learning and healing and disease. And it's this junk DNA that we're going to be clearing, because remember, there's DNA in every single cell. And that's kind of where this stuff hides. Or it can hide in the space in between. Those of you who know me notice I talk about the space in between. So another thing that's kind of cool. First, I want to tell you about, there's a study by a company called ENCODE. And they absolutely, completely proved that every single piece of our DNA works in some way to affect our world. Either it's vibrating our emotions, or it's a piece of our parents' DNA and it's vibrating there. But my guys just tell me they got it. Okay, good. It's funny. All right. So the human DNA is like the biological internet is essentially what I was trying to say. And it's really awesome. There's some Russian scientists that have done some research, and they have used this junk DNA era to actually prove the phenomena of, clairvoyance, intuition, and spontaneous healing and remote healing, which is what I do, or self-healing. And it's completely based on the fact that the vibrations of voice and the vibrations of thought and the vibrations of energy can actually affect and clear it. So that's what we're going to focus on today. It's absolutely cool. And if you want to, I can send a link to this article about it. It's kind of neat. But essentially, in a nutshell, it says that the difference between health in the Western is that we cut out the problem. But with this new technique, all we have to do is send energy to it and it will heal itself. They prove this over and over again, and it's seriously awesome. Some of you may know I've talked about my mentor, Dr. Hector Garcia, who's in San Diego, routinely cures cancer. I mean, like tumor gone. It's scary. And this is how he's doing it. So this show, this class, is going to be about that aspect today. If you have any questions, you can say on chat. So let's start. It's kind of cool. So we understand, the first thing I want to talk about is layers and levels. We have many, many layers of energy in our bodies. We have the, let me see, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 layers outside of our body. And then 9 layers inside our body. Really, 9? Yeah, they just said 9 layers of energy inside our body. So when we begin to collect other people's stuff, it starts on the outside of our body until it comes to the inside of, the layers on the inside of our body, and vice versa. When we clear things from the inside of our body, from our energy of our body, sometimes we don't get it all the way out, and it could be in the outside layers hanging around. So, not cool. And that's how things, quote unquote, come back. It's because they never left. Then I want to tell you about the phenomenon of multiple universes. You may have heard about that with quantum physics. In the world of multiple universes, we can have multiple copies of the same issue. So we can clear it in this universe, but there may be 8, 10 other copies. So I'm going to teach you how to ask the different questions when you're going to clear. Do you remember your muscle testing? You can answer with that. Or you can do your mountaintop and you'll feel the truth inside you. These are just going to be baby steps, because in the final one, we're going to really get clear about what's true and what isn't. Oh, no, the guide said we're going to do it today. Oh, okay, we're going to do it today and then finish clearing up in next week. They said it's much more important that you know what's true and what isn't. It will help the clearing process. They got a point there. They definitely have a point there. So now I'm turning the ship. And it is, yes, about clearing out the crap, but this week is going to be about knowing what's crap and what isn't. How cool. Right. Step 1. Okay, we're getting a step 1. Step 1, please sit quietly and notice, like your butt sitting on the chair. They want you to notice that. They want you to notice your head floating in the air. They want you to notice if your belly is full or empty. Notice different physical aspects of your world right now. Notice if you feel any pressure in any part in your body. That's your next layer to notice. If they're like, I'm feeling a little pressure on this ear here. I don't know if it's mine or somebody else's because I don't normally have ear issues. Notice that. Notice if there are any pressures or any, yeah. That one's definitely not mine in the back. So notice those. But don't notice them from an aspect of, ooh, that hurts. Just notice it as an is. Because we're noticing things to get it separate from ourselves. Okay, we want it separate. So what I'd like you to do is notice the isness of it and then the isness of you. How those things are only a small bit of you. Good. Now notice the part of you that isn't the painful stuck part. Notice that. Yeah. Good. Walk all around that. See the parts that are doing really well. Yeah. And like sort of skip over the parts that feel a little bumpy. We're just going to walk all around. Now here's where it's really cool. I want you to step into your field and notice the air around you, the energy vibrating around you. That might be a little difficult or it might be easy. I don't know. Oh, wow. You're definitely getting it. Just sort of walk around your body and notice that there are vibrational fields around it. Great. Now that we've done all this wonderful noticing, what do we do with it? That's good. They said, now we're going to understand what's real, what's ours, and what isn't. They say those of you who are visual can clearly see what belongs and what doesn't belong at this point when you step outside or when you transition in and out. When you're inside, you can clearly see that is an area of my body that doesn't look right. Those of you who are not visual, oh, is it? Some people are auditory? Yeah. That is really cool. Okay. You get to tune in to the vibration of what's right. Find the place that's good and tune into that vibration. And then move to the area that feels stuck and tune into that vibration and feel the difference of it. That's really cool. I'm very visual, so I never do that. But that is a possibility. Those of you who are very tactile, you'll be able to feel where it's easy to be where you are and where movement becomes more stilted and difficult. Very good. And some people may feel all of those or pieces and bits of each aspect of that. So play with that now for a minute and feel and just enjoy it for a second. Right. Now that you've understand that you are multi-layered and you do have bits and pieces of you that, it's not all a conglomerate whole, you can feel that there are spaces that are different, Yeah, okay. Sesame Street again. One of these things is not like the other. Yes. Okay. Now we're going to learn how to feel the answers to your truths. This is the coolest thing. So everybody come back out. And first I'm going to teach you the physical way of feeling it. It's really cool. It's so cool. All right. And you'll see me doing this all the time. People who see me in public, I'll actually feel the space to feel the truth. But I've gotten very, very good at it. So now that you've noticed the difference between what's easy to move through and what's difficult, or what's stuck and what's open, you can do that in the air around you. So I'd like you to imagine, make a window in front of you, just a regular double hung window. It doesn't have to have any window treatments, Just can be a hole. Good. Now take your hand and have the window be closed when you get to it, and feel how it will stop. And you can close your eyes and feel where it is and just go very slowly to it, and you'll go, oh, there it is. See, when your eyes are closed, it's funny, it'll be right in the air where that stop is. Do you feel the window being closed? Cool. Now open the window and put your hand in the same place. Your hand will go right through. Close the window again to check, and you'll feel it stopping you. Open the window one more time, and it goes right through. If you have any questions or you need any assistance, feel free to put it in the chat. But it feels like everybody got it. Yeah, good. Right, so that is, now comes the fun part. You can make two windows. This window represents yes, and it's open. This window represents no, and it's closed. And you ask a simple question. Like, is this ringing, this not ringing, but twinging in this ear? Is this information for me that I need to attend to, or does it belong to somebody else? So the first question is this information for me? I'll feel the yes. It won't go through yes. And I feel the no. They said, you're doing it wrong. Really? Yeah. You only need one window, and when the window is open, your hand will go through. And when the answer is yes, your hand will go through. When the answer is no, your hand won't. I haven't used this in so long, I hear it in my head, so I don't need the windows anymore. So I've forgotten that's how it works. So correction, you only have the one window, and when the answer is no, your hand won't go through. But when the answer is yes, it will. So now I'm going to ask again about this ear, this thing of the ear. Is this stuff information for me personally about me? I got to know. It's not. See? Now what do we get when we get a no on that? It's not important. I just let it go. It doesn't want to go. So let me ask again. Is it important for somebody I love? I got a yes. Isn't that interesting? See? So when things won't leave you, and this is important information for someone I love. So let's ask again. Would this someone be the person I'm married to? No, well, that's good. A friend I care about? Yes. Now the question is this a literal pain that friend is feeling? No. Is this a psychic trick yeah? No. Is this a message? Yes, it's a message. It's a message. Is a message about listening? I heard no. We don't need to keep doing the windows. Is the message about listening to yourself? It's yes. Yeah, it's about listening to yourself. Very good. So this person, this friend, it's about listening to yourself. And I will remember that and give the message to my friend. Good. Right, so guys, yes, they said let's get back on track. So we now have a way to have the physical yes and no. And we learned last week about the leaning yes and no. Now here comes the really good one. If you practice this one enough, eventually you'll start hearing it. But here's the best one. We're going to go to mountaintop again. So 1, 2, 3. Everybody close your eyes. Get on your mountain. And then find your perfect, wonderful place down in the valley below. And see and feel and know that that is your perfect place. And then allow yourself to float or travel right to the center of it. Very good. Good job, everybody. And now that you're there, this is where your body will absolutely vibrate truth to yourself. So let's start with something simple. Ask your body if the prominent place that is bothering you at this moment, the stiff or stuck place. Ask them if it is ready to leave. How about that? And you'll feel a yes or no. You'll feel it inside you. That knowingness can be heard. And if you start thinking with your head, slip back down into that valley, that softness. Just like you're resting down on the softest, most wonderful bed you've ever known. There we go. Because we're not interested in what your brain has to say. It's possible to just use the frontal lobe, just this very little tiny bit here, and the rest of this crap can just shut up. Because we don't want to know about it. I told you about that time where I got bumped out of my body and it was white noise in my brain, but I was able to carry on conversations. I couldn't remember anything, and with brain injuries, you can, you don't really need much of your brain to talk. That's true. Sorry. Okay. All right. So, good. Now we're back. We're back here, down. Good. Let's take something that's bugging you. And I taught you before about putting in your heart and see if it will stay, if it's something that you love or not love, a truth. Now this one's even better. If there's some stuff you don't want to put in there, right? You just don't want to know. So it's like you plug into it, like you reach your little etheric figure out and touch it or connect to it in some way that if it's outside your body and feel the truth of it. And it only starts with yes or no questions. So say you take the stiffness in your back and you can say, is all of this pain mine? And you'll feel instantly whether it's a yes or a no. And if the answer is no, then it indicates that you're carrying other people's energy. You're attempting to process other people's energy. Yeah, there you go. Now let's just set that answer aside and we'll go to another place. Find another place in your body that feels stiff or painful. For me, it's usually the back of my neck, but it's feeling fine now for some reason. But somebody I'm feeling really has some stiff shoulders back here. So close your eyes, drift very deep into that soft, gentle place and sort of reach your knowingness outside of that space and, attach to it and then ask, is all of this stuckness mine? And you'll hear the answer immediately. I heard some yeses there. That's pretty good. That's a good thing when it's all yours. That's a very good thing. So I definitely heard some yeses. Right. Now that we've gotten a little better about hearing yes and no, that's all very well and good, but we want to clear this stuff out, right? So everybody come out and come into your frontal lobe learning thing. Good. And just share with me in the chat if you're with me, because or if you're having a problem at all. In fact, there's only a few of us, so I'm going to just unmute you so it's easier. So everybody is unmuted. Maggie, you're unmuted. Were you able to follow along?
Yes, but I'm not sure I got a clear yes or no.
All right.
The last time.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Melissa, were you able to follow along? No? Okay. Marco, were you able to follow along?
I have the baby. My wife is here with me, and she did.
Okay, good.
So I couldn't follow along, but yeah.
All right. Well, you know, you'll always have the replay. I just want to make sure that people are able to do that. I'll go through it one more time, and I'm going to mute everybody again. There we go. Good. So let's try it one more time, and we'll try it slowly with the windows now that we're out of it. So remember your windows. And so you're just going to ask an outside question. This feeling that I have that in my physical body, is this 100% my problem? Is it? And then put your hand out. You'll get a yes or a no. Practice that. Did that corroborate? I have found that this right here, the more you play with it, the more fun you have. I mean, it's just so much fun. Good. Now that we're kind of getting our answers, and we have a number of ways to get answers now. We have the placing the ball in the heart and seeing that it bounces out. We have the windows, and we have the knowingness. That's the highest level, is the knowingness here. And the very highest level, and when you do this a lot, you'll get like me, where you'll just hear it. The more you do it, you'll just know it in your body. You'll just feel a yes or no. And I'll bet there are times when each of you can explain or remember a time where you have such a feeling of, yeah, that's right. That knowingness in your body. And that's when you know, that's what I call the sledgehammer yes. So it'll get more and more subtle, and it's just about learning the subtleties of it. It's easier to feel the gross clearly, but as you get more and more practice, you'll feel the subtleties. But fingers help. Using fingers first helps. Right. So let's get to cleaning, shall we? Yeah. Let's get to cleaning. So what do we do when we have this stuff that we're seeing that is, let's start, well, let me see, guys. Start with the is not ours first. Okay. If you have found any piece of energy attached to your body or around your body that is not yours, these are fun. How do you want me to tell them, guys? Do it like me. Okay, good. This is kind of cool. Remember we talked about smoothing bed sheets? I think we did. I don't know. That's what they're telling me, that we talked about smoothing bed sheets. What we're going to talk about now is exactly that we are going to rise above the problem. I'm going to tell you in words, and then I'll take you there. We're going to rise above, quote unquote, the problem. Rise, 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 rise above. Not the mountaintop, but almost in a balloon, where we can look down upon ourselves as if it were a plane and smooth the areas that are ruffled or that are bumpy. It's that simple. And it can be done with people who are tactile and people who are visual. Guys, tell me how you do it with the sound. They'll hear whether it's harmonious or not, and they'll move their focus in areas where there's discord, where there isn't musical harmony, and then they'll move back to areas and smooth them to become harmony. Oh, that's cool. Okay. All right, let's commence making the bed. We'll call this meditation making the bed. Right, everybody, I want you to imagine that you're standing in an open plain. And this open plain represents your vast energy. You are very small. And in front of you is a hot air balloon with a basket. Or if you're frightened, it could be you're standing in front of a high rise and you'll be able to look out the window, whichever way you feel most comfortable. So however way you do it, either get in the hot air balloon and rise, or go into the building and take the elevator all the way up and then look out from the top floor window and down upon the plain. So let's rise higher and higher and higher till you can see the vast plain. Now create this plain as a monotone. Symbolize it as, to me, it's easiest as a bed sheet, but it could be a field, it could be anything. Very good. Now rise higher and higher till it looks like a topographical map. Gaze down upon this topographical map, and you may notice a mountain range or two. Just gaze upon it. If you do notice things that are bumpy and ruffled, direct your thoughts or your energy and your compassion and love with the intention of smoothing. You're just smoothing. It's like you're stroking gently. Those of you who have ever frosted a cake, it's like that. You just want to smooth it. You just want to smooth it. You don't want to yank or slap. Because with frosting, you have to be really delicate and really level. Good. Now here's the fun thing. Look around behind you. There'll be more. And set your intention to, oh gosh, I feel things moving. Take a breath when it shifts. That's good. And set your intention to smoothing. Good. That's good. Have fun with this game. Notice you can see far away too. I mean, like really far into the distance, as far as you can see all the way around. Just smooth that down. And when you feel ready, you can descend down to the plane again and see how it feels down there. It definitely feels quieter in some way. And all we represented was other people's stuff. This wasn't even yours. Your own stuff, we don't want to disrespect it by smoothing it away. But when it's other people's, it's easy to smooth it away. Now, how would this be practical? You know, you clearly when you're driving, you can't stop and smooth things away. But you know, it's extremely practical just to take a minute and take a breath and do just a, traffic light smoothing. Just close your eyes, imagine the ruffles, and just smooth them away. That feels really nice. Okay, now let's check. I always like to check my work. Create your window, and you ask, has this energy departed? Is it gone? Whatever. And you'll get a yes or no answer. And if you get a no, then we're going to ask another question. Does it want something else? And if you get a yes, then there are a number of other questions to ask. The first one I ask is acknowledgement. Does it want to be acknowledged? Sometimes, teachers will know that, kids who act up, all they really want is acknowledgement. That's why they're acting up. Well, sometimes pain is that way. It just wants acknowledging. It just wants you to not bulldoze over that moment. Just say, oh, yes, I'm acknowledging that this is an issue. Thank you very much for your service. That's right. Okay. So the next question is, does this need forgiveness? Have I been holding a thought, a negative thought about this? That's a big one. Negative thoughts will hold things in. Just like, like the energy of a court case will keep that animosity going. Or it's impossible to have a ceasefire if there's always going to be somebody waiting to fire on the other side. So if the answer you get is this needs forgiveness, there is the I'm sorry, please forgive me routine that I may have told you about. It's the Ho'opono, the Hawaiian I'm sorry, I forgive you. And I always add please forgive me on top of that just to make sure. And then thank you and I love you. But you can look it up, the Hawaiian 4 sentence. You just repeat that over and over and over again. And as we just said at the beginning, words, the vibrations of words can actually change DNA. So yeah, that's why affirmations work, but they don't always work. So we have to use, yeah, they get it, they said, okay. So in this case, we'll find where it's stuck and forgive it and not push on it. Frequently, it's the pushing that maintains it. So we'll pull back from it. That's the Zen way, yes. Allowing. Allowing is a hard thing to learn. All right, now they want me to move to another aspect of clearing. Oh, and they also said we're gonna do this kind of again next week, but with questions. It'll be they want everybody on the computer next week so there can be individual help, and also giving everybody a link for their session, their mini session. Cool. All right. Right. So they wanted to go to the layers and levels that we talked about earlier. That's another reason why things won't go. Remember, they're caught in the layers and the levels. So let's ask the question, are there more layers? Is it a yes or no? I got a no for me, but some people may have a yes. Are there more layers? If that's the case, you can ask all the layers to join in the smoothing, you see? It can be very complex, but it doesn't have to be. It's just about remembering to ask the proper questions. And it's all about the energy of intent. Yes, I know. Remember, this is still only about other people's stuff. We haven't even tackled your own. Next week, we're going to tackle your own. It's much more ticklish. We were learning the techniques today. So, the final question you would ask would be, are there any outside, and they call them patterns, but other people call them cords, energy attachments. My guides call them patterns. Are there any other patterns associated with this that would hold this in place? That's the final question. So, that final thing is the patterns. Guides are going to say, how are you going to ask them how to learn about patterns? Oh, that's interesting. Okay. It's really high level stuff. I'm sorry, it's difficult to explain it, but it's super high level stuff. So when you get the answer of yes, there are patterns, there are outside cords, the easiest way to deal with it is to ask for a symbol or representation or a knowingness of an outside pattern. That's the easiest way, because not knowing is the easiest way. I'm serious. So if so if I were to see, or I would notice where this outside energy is coming from or coming to me, I'm getting pulled away or it's being pulled towards me. If I could see that, what would, have it show up. And you do that just when you're in the meditation. So let's start from the beginning and end. Now I've set all these little tiny pieces up, and there's lots of them. It's very complex. This is difficult not to teach in person. So 1, 2, 3. First, notice a stiffness, a stuckness in your physical body. There's your first thing. The next thing you do is open your window and say, is this for me? Is this mine? Does this belong to somebody else? So today we're focusing on somebody else's stuff. So if you get the yes on the somebody else's stuff, and for this purposes, everybody got a yes, the next step would be to ask, you want me to ask about patterns? No. To ask to go up in the balloon and smooth it out. That's the next step. If it goes all the way right then, good. If it doesn't, that's when you ask layers, patterns. Or does it want forgiveness or acknowledgement? Those are the main reasons why things won't leave, won't clear. Okay? Good. So I will lead you through one more meditation on this. They said no. They said no. Cool. They want to start again with another form of clearing. Really? Yeah, they do. They want to settle everybody back down and get everybody settled into gentleness. Good. And how do you want me to lead them? Take a deep breath. One, two, three, create your grounding cord. Drop the cord gently all the way to the earth and drop the cord. Good. That dropped everybody's energy. Good. We'll notice that for a second. Now, from here, if you haven't put your mountaintop meditation kind of on a shortcut, I'm going to give you another one that helps. Stand at the top of the slide above your space and slide down. There's good. Now we're there. Now you can see what's part of you and what isn't part of you. You can notice the vibrations of being where you are versus things that are outside you. And that's all we're going to do is just notice where you are versus the things that are outside you. Very good. And I am going to just smooth the energy. Very good. That's good. That's good. And now that we're at this place, I'd like you to connect to the light from here. So take the energy from below and shoot the beam all the way up, up, up through your body and fully connect with the light. And then bring the light back down and let it balance in the yin yang. Very good. And in this final step, this is the new way, another new way of clearing. You will say, everything and anything related, attached, or associated with this thing that I am noticing, I hereby ask it gently to release. I love you, thank you, and goodbye. And that often is one of the most successful ways to clear other people's energy. And they love that. They love that you're getting that one. Now, from this place, I'd like you to whisper something to your heart. I know that's a very weird thing to say, but I want you to whisper something and see if it wants to be there. I usually whisper, I love you. Some people can't do that. Sometimes you can whisper whatever you want, but whisper and then you'll know that your heart is hearing you and answering. Because that's the next lesson where you're really going to get to your truth. Where it will become so obvious what the right thing to do and the wrong thing to do is. Right here. Good. And in the very last step today, I would like, from this place where you are, just gaze around and see if there might be any debris in the outside layers. And if there are, with your intention, smooth it away. Just smooth it away. That actually helped quite a bit. I'm noticing that helped quite a bit. That's good. That's good. Now, let's come back in to this here now, and we're going to take stock with the windows. Remember, one more time, we're going to check our work. So come out and ask, was that exercise successful? Ask, did my intention work? If you got a yes, woohoo. If you got a no, practice the steps again. And I am available. That's one of the reasons I'm going to give everybody a session, because we're also going to have question and answers, and I'll lead you through it. This is a difficult thing to do without being able to talk back and forth. In fact, we're going to take the next few minutes for direct questions. I'm unmuting Maggie now. Hi, Maggie.
Hello.
Do you have any questions? This week was really hard. I know it wasn't as easy to follow because one thing, I do it so quickly, it's very difficult to break down. And another thing, they were giving me directions that were even faster. So what do you need clarification of?
I don't know. The first time we did the window, I got a clear no and a clear yes. But then every time after that, I always got a yes.
Okay.
So maybe I just need to play with it more.
Yeah. This week is best to take and play with, like, all the time. Every chance you know what I used to do with it? I used to do watch reality TV? You're like, is that person going to get eliminated? No? Okay. This one? Yeah? Okay, cool. Yeah, and that way you got your instant feedback. Because I didn't know the answer. Clearly it was pre-taped, so they know the answer.
Yeah.
Know it. Did you get it?
Yeah. And then when you first mentioned the auditory stuff, I had like a big reaction. I like actually started crying a little bit, but I don't know. So I felt like that was something for me, but I don't know. I really need to feel into that because I haven't played with that at all.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, it is possible to hear when things are doing well. I'm very auditory.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time talking to myself so I can hear the answer, hear the truth.
Mm.
So remember that if you're auditory. I'm visual too, but I'm auditory.
Yeah.
I know that this was difficult, but it's going to take like practicing it a couple times or even more to get this. But they wanted to get it all out tonight so you could have it of a piece and play with it for a week. So next week we can go over it again and be more broken down pieces again of it.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right. I'm going to mute you now. And Marco, I'm going to unmute you. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Are you there, Marco?
I'm here, but I'm actually unable to be participating. My wife is here, Haley, who's been doing it.
Hi. So
yeah. I've kind of hijacked.
That's fine.
I do have a question about the visual because I can really visualize.
Mm-hmm.
And then things come to me in really strange ways that, it just springs up. Like, I don't know, when you said about smoothing, it was more, for me anyway, I got like a sense of like a gunky layer that was like outside of my body that just I sort of peeled away and and sort of threw it out and it kind of just floated up and away.
That's perfectly, yes, you did it right. You did it right. And here's why I say you did it right, because it's been a while since you've cleaned. And so there would be the gunky layer first. And after a while, then you'll just be smoothing. Okay. Make sense?
Yeah. Because, I don't know why, but sometimes, using a certain visualization, it just goes a different way for me. And then I sort of, feel like, have I gone off on a tangent? Is something else coming up? It's hard to know, like, if you're still on the same track of,
I get it. So I will say now, however it shows up for you is perfect. Because remember they said something about symbols, that things will be symbolized. You never know how it's going to show up. So in your case, your gunky layer was the easiest way for your mind to understand that it can go. And that's all. Because remember, all it takes is the intent. It doesn't, how it actually shows up doesn't matter. It's just the intent.
Okay.
You like that?
Yeah. So as long as you're sort of getting into the zone of wanting to clear, and however that comes.
However it shows up is perfect for you. Some people, like going in the ocean, they imagine the ocean, every tiny little bubble scrubbing. That works. That's really fun too. But mostly this is about knowing what's yours and what isn't. That's what this class is. We're just adding the cleaning and the clearing to make it easier to see what's yours and what isn't, and to know what's right and what's true. How to get your inner compass going. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah, I just feel like it takes a long time. Like I feel like almost that it won't ever be. Like I feel like there's a lot, and that it would need so much time.
That's actually only a perception. If you believe it's going to take a long time, then it will.
Okay.
Seriously. Humans, and I love them because I am one, tend to like to overcomplicate things. They just do. They tend to overcomplicate things in the most charming and wonderful ways. So you can always ask yourself, if I were to see the easiest way to do this, let me see it.
Mm-hmm.
Try that.
Yeah, okay.
It works. Right. So I'm going to mute you. And we're going to finish up. I am going to focus on writing step-by-step directions in written form for you, and also send you the article about how intention. Oh, I heard a no on that. The guide said, no, you don't want that. Okay, good. And then I'm also going to give you a quickie primer in layers of energy and how they work. It helps and doesn't help. Sometimes having knowledge doesn't help. Sometimes having knowledge does help. But your assignment this week is to practice and playing with your windows. Very good. And practice and play with noticing what's part of you and what isn't. Because that's the two things that they really wanted you to know this week is the yes or no with the windows, and what is me and what isn't me. What is mine and what isn't mine. Very good. Thank you so much. I'm sorry this was a hard one because it's like stepping off a cliff. This is a really hard one, and it is easier when you play with it. So, thank you. Bye-bye.